folks, we're getting around to that time of year again. Yep, this coming weekend, it is the It's a Wonderful Life celebration. But more on that later. First, I'm going to get to the two parts that I always like to talk about. First, the Orange. Yeah, very rough beginning this year, but their first ACC True Road game shows that, hey, when they're on, they're on. Much like Jerry Reed says, when you're hot, you're hot. But he isn't doing some illegal gambling, if you know what I mean. But I will tell you, Elijah Hughes broke out in a big way. 26 first half points, en route to scoring 33. And then Buddy Boeheim breaking out in the second half to a big win over the Yellow Jackets down in Atlanta. And I mean, it just seems as though this team seems to be a team that's, when they're hot, they're hot. When they're not, they're not. And I'm not going to go, girls, when you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not. Oh, you know what? I'd rather sing Amos Moses than when you're hot, you're hot. Jerry Reed? Of course, he's up in heaven now. But enough about Barefoot Jerry Reed. Big win by the Orange. And we go to meet our rivals down to D.C. We take on the Hoyas on Saturday. And you know what? It's always going to be a battle. But now it seems as though the Hoyas are embroiled in a little trouble. Couple players getting in trouble with the law. Couple players entering the transfer portal. And I mean, one of them decommitting. What is Ewing doing down there? He's trying to build the Hoyas into a power. Seems as though it's coming apart at the seams. Maybe we're catching Georgetown at their weakest. Who knows? But I go on from there to talking about the Bills. Yeah, they did give Lamar Jackson quite a tussle on Sunday. They pretty much held him in check. But what the heck is going on with the offense? Inconsistency, if you ask me. Inconsistency. The defense and special teams did their part. Heck, Hauchka booted some pretty clutch field goals. But yet, yes, right on the final play almost the final play, Brown could have caught the touchdown that could have tied the score. It just seems as though when Josh Allen has several great performances, he digresses a little bit, and he goes back and he starts doing stuff that makes you mad. And of course, when they've got a blitz going on, it seems as though the offensive line can't handle it. Heck, we kept Lamar Jackson in check. Why couldn't the offense do the part? 24-17, we lose to the Ravens. But you know what? But New England lost to Kansas City. New England's got Cincinnati coming up. And there's a little thing going on that's saying, hey, maybe some video crews by the Patriots might have been illegally videotaping. Again. It just seems as though when they can't leave well enough alone. Heck, you remember what happened about 11, 12 years ago. And of course, several years ago, the whole thing with Deflategate. Just seems as though Belichick and crew can't just seem to stay away from doing stuff that's illegal. Or is it? Of course, it's got to be proven, but you can't teach a leopard to lose its spots. You can't teach an old dog tricks like, hey, you got to abide by the rules. You know what? If they're guilty, of course they're saying, oh, it's inadvertent. Yeah, inadvertent, my left foot. If it's true, then I wonder, are they finally going to fire Belichick? Or are they finally going to do something really drastic? We'll see. Of course, for the owner, could be his craft. Oh well, I'm going to go from talking about that to talking about the It's a Wonderful Life celebration. Yep, the annual time every second December weekend when we celebrate what Frank Capra did all those years ago with that movie. That Seneca Falls was the model for Bedford Falls in the movie. Yes, all those characters are going to be wandering Fall Street. We're going to have the parade. We're going to have everything. We're going to have what has become one of the biggest 5Ks in the area. Yep, it's probably another record one coming off the Bridge Street Bridge. When Carolyn Grimes, who played Zuzu in the movie, will say, "Every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings." And then the cavalry charge, minus the bugle. Oh, that's William Tell. Of course, sometimes you can't tell, if you know what I mean. But I mean, always just seems to be a great weekend for people to come to visit Seneca Falls. Great boon. And also, the George Bailey Award, who's presented this year to a great person, Mrs. Jarrett, who was a great teacher when I was in school. It's going to be a fantastic weekend for people here in Seneca Falls. And last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about money. First, it seems with Rochester and their budget shortfall when it comes to their schools. Yes, $64 million is the budget shortfall for the Rochester Central School District. And they're doing drastic measures, like maybe cutting 150 teaching jobs. You know, that had all the students going out to protest yesterday, both at East, Wilson Magnet, and other schools. But I heard the figures. Cutting those teaching jobs is only going to save like $7 million. And the thing is, I just wonder who was responsible for that fiscal mess up there in Rochester in the first place. You know, there was definitely a lot of mismanagement going on. And of course, you kind of wonder if Mayor Lovely Warren, who isn't lovely, she's ugly as hell, had something to do about it. Well, of course, there's that. Then you look at the contract Steven Strasburg signed. 7 years, $245 million, becoming the highest paid pitcher in baseball history. You know, they could use some of that money, say, "Hey, Rochester, out of the budget shortfall." But I digress. There's that, and there's everything else that's messed up about this world. I'm Ken Haas, and those are my stories this week.